welcome back to my channel. I am Cassandra. I'm on a mission to rediscover my creativity and spirituality in motherhood. I am currently doing a cycle syncing series where I am trying to align my diet, exercise, lifestyle, and kind of how I relate to the world in alignment with the different phases of my cycle. If you've watched the other 3 phases, then welcome back. If this is your first time here, welcome. Thank you for joining. I'm happy to have you here. I hope you learned something and have a little fun. We are currently in phase 4, the luteal phase. I'm currently on an adventure of filming in front of different windows in my house. So welcome to today's location. Let me know how you feel about it. Okay, let's jump right into diet. So I'm gonna start off with grains, then meats, then veggies, then some special stuff. Breakfast, pumpkin and squash are recommended during luteal phase. So having a kind of pumpkin protein muffin with some walnut and cinnamon would be, ooh la la, very nice. A special food or superfood that's recommended during your luteal phase is spirulina. You could try and add some spirulina into that muffin. If I made it, I'll insert. I am trying to do these fudgy brownies for your luteal phase. I found this recipe from Organic Olivia, and it also does take into account, the recipe does include cooked sweet potatoes, which is also wonderful for our luteal phase. So I have my cooked sweet potato. We do need an egg. Oh my gosh, they're so brown and beautiful. Maybe I shouldn't kiss them. An egg. We've got our cacao powder. We need some salt and vanilla, as well as I have cane sugar. I usually do prefer coconut palm sugar, but it is specialty. I probably have to go to Whole Foods to get it. I mean, this is clearly Whole Foods, but I've had this bag for a long time, since last year, so I'm just gonna use up our cane sugar while we have it. A little baking powder, and then you can put in what nut butter you choose. I love cashew butter. I'll be using that, but walnuts are recommended when you're in your luteal phase of your cycle. So I do have a few walnuts left over that I'm gonna use, or you could add some chocolate chips if you want. I was just looking at the ingredients, and even though these are dark chocolate, they have milk in them. So I'm gonna question it. I'm gonna think about it. A superfood that you can have when you're in your luteal phase is spirulina. I'm gonna try to add maybe a teaspoon of this, because I think what is a recommended serving, 1 teaspoon with 8 fluid ounces of water. So depending on how many brownies are in there, I don't want it to get too dry, or I don't want it to overpower the brownies, but I will probably be the only brownie eater in this household, minus my son, if I can keep it away from him. So I'm gonna experiment, because I'm gonna be the one eating it. So I'll keep you posted. But otherwise, we're gonna combine all of this. My oven is preheated to 350. Here's everything in its glory. I'm gonna mix it up before I add the spirulina. Okay, per the instructions, this is a lot thicker than a normal batter. It's like sticking on that spoon there. I did stir in the 2 teaspoons of spirulina powder, so we'll see if I can taste any of the flavor when it comes to baking. I'm gonna add the walnuts and put this in a baking pan. Okay, so she's gonna go in for 60 minutes. All right, I've already got her ready. And this is the final result. It really is a fudgy brownie. Because of that sweet potato, I think the consistency is much more like a fudge. We've got a little more moisture, I'll say, than a regular brownie or like a cupcake, but divided into little slivers. This has turned into my favorite snack to have on hand. Healthy, homemade, not a bunch of sugar preservatives in it. I love it.
Great Northern beans are the legume that's recommended during luteal phase, and I'm trying to have a lot of meatless lunches and focusing on beans and legumes. So we have our Great Northern bean soup with carrot, celery, sun-dried tomato, kale, and I have a bone broth and coconut milk base. It turned out just delicious. Amazing, amazing lunch. Make yourself soup for lunch. You'll love it.
Getting back to meats and other proteins, beef and turkey are recommended, and as far as seafood, cod would be something wonderful to make during this part of your phase as well. Moving in to exercise. So we are shifting from the high energy that we had during ovulation, and we're starting to slow down. This is the transition between a really slow and restful period of menstruation. So when it comes to exercise, Pilates and yoga are great at this time, as well as resistance training, really focusing on what that exercise is and what muscles you're actually using during those exercises. So Pilates and bar would be something that would be really great because they really focus on specific muscles within each exercise.
Please enjoy this very close-up video of me sweating through bar class. I'm still a little uncomfortable filming, so I was trying to be a little sneaky.
As far as lifestyle, similarly to what I just mentioned, we are transitioning from a high to a low. So in the beginning of your luteal phase, you'll probably still have a lot of energy. You'll continue to take action. That is something I mentioned a lot in the last phase, but I actually believe luteal phase would be a better time to take action. You've had a lot of planning, you did a lot of legwork, and now it's time to take some action. So I would continue to utilize that energy that you have within those few days post ovulation, and maximize it and enjoy it. And then probably in those last days of your luteal phase, once you get closer to menstruation, probably feel your body wanting to slow down a little bit, maybe have a little less energy to tackle your projects. And I would just try to remind yourself where you are in your phase, that it's acceptable to slow down or feel a little tired or not tackle as much as you were able to tackle 5 days ago. Which is wild in today's society to think that our society is constantly based on being as productive as we were yesterday, today, and continuing to hold ourselves during that standard. I think what this phase really teaches us is that we are going to have fluctuations day to day, not only from our outside environments, but what our body is telling us it needs to do and what would benefit it throughout the day and throughout this phase. So take that as a reminder to just check in with yourself every morning, see how you're feeling, and plan your day accordingly and set your expectations accordingly. Just always continue to pat yourself on the back. The fact that our hormones are constantly changing every day, that it takes 28 days for our hormones to reset and not 24 hours. The society was not built on that fact, and we are continuing to live in it. And you're doing an amazing job. So I think the more that you can center and align with yourself every day, this phase really teaches us how important that is. As far as relationships go, when we're in our luteal phase, it's really important for us to feel safe and protected. This comes back to potentially keeping safe a pregnancy. So your body's like, all right, I'm going to feel warm and cuddly and safe. So I think communicating that to your romantic partner is really important throughout all our phases. I think communicating what we need is really important until they remember and know that on their own. As far as platonic relationships or relationships with friends or family, I would not take this time to be adventurous by any means. I would take this time to do some warm and comforting things with your friends, and maybe go see a movie, or going to get coffee or tea as opposed to like a wild night out of drinking, or having like early dinner plans with your friends would be really nice. A night in where you're crafting or creating or finishing up some projects. If you're comfortable enough to be in your sweatpants, I think that's where you should be. You don't have to be wearing sweatpants, but if you're comfortable enough to show up in that way, that's the places that you should be during this phase. Anecdotally, for me, during this phase, I definitely felt my body really slow down after ovulation was over. You were feeling so productive, so energized, and now you're not. And again, our society was not built on us living through our phases. We're constantly trying to live up to the expectation to be as productive as we are today, as we were yesterday, the day before, 2 weeks ago, 30 days ago, a year ago. And it can be really hard to sometimes navigate those phases. But as you continue to cycle sync, you'll continue to plan around those aspects of your phases when it comes to vacation, when it comes to big projects, when it comes to tackling a to-do list, when it comes to doing things around your home. Like, now's not the time for it, or now's the time for me to plan, or now's the time for me to shop and do research of what I need. You'll come to find that those become a little easier, but at least for me, it is still sometimes a struggle to go to those transitions. I hope that information was helpful, and I hope it helps you feel more in tune with your luteal phase this time around. But it is a journey. We're all still figuring it out. This does complete like phase 4. It's our final phase of our cycle syncing series. So I'll definitely want to talk about maybe an overall arching, like how cycle syncing is going, maybe some overall general ideas, and I can't wait to kind of discover more and align more. Well, I hope you have a beautiful luteal phase this session. I hope you find comfort and protection wherever you can, inside your home, with friends and family, with your romantic partner. Honor that, honor your body. Continue to just listen to your body every day until that next phase starts. I cannot wait to see you for our next phase on what we're going to continue to work to be in alignment with, what I want to sync up with, not just my cycles, maybe the earth cycles, maybe Mother Nature. What is she gonna show us? And our own spirituality. What do we want to tune into? All that fun stuff. So stick around. I can't wait for more. And I'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching. Bye.